My name is Qian Yi Lim and I'm a Customer Success Manager for Microsoft Singapore. Today, we are going to talk about why it's important to make the shift to Microsoft 365, especially if you haven't done so already. This session is going to be packed with a lot of useful resources and demos to help you with your journey with us in this era of digital transformation. Now, before we get started, here are a few key dates to remember. We've announced the end of support for Windows 7 and Office 2010 and changes in requirements for connectivity to Office 365 services. What does this mean for you? Windows 7 extended support ends on 14th of January 2020. After this date, you will no longer receive any updates, whether it's security or bug fixes. In addition, our official support statement for Office 365 is that we are supporting whatever build of Windows that is in mainstream support. The same thing applies for Office 2010, which ends support on 14th of October 2020. There will be no more security or bug fixes. And in addition, starting October 13th of 2020, customers will need Office 365 Pro Plus or Office 2019 clients in mainstream support to connect to Office 365 services. To give you more time to transition fully to the cloud, we will continue to support Office 2016 connections with the Office 365 services through October 2023. But you're probably thinking, why fix what's not broken? Why is Microsoft forcing us to change? Well, historically, there has been always a tension between the user's needs and the role of IT. Users want the latest tools providing them simplicity, flexibility, and mobility, whereas IT needs to ensure security and compliance, but this often comes at the expense of productivity. So the end result is usually an outdated software, especially Windows and Office, that are delivered to the users. And we hear you, and Microsoft is the only company with a solution in the industry that resolves the tension and enables this balance. This combination provides the most productive and most secure computing experience for users, while lowering the cost and reducing the complexity for IT teams. There is, however, a bit of effort needed to make this change. In the long run, shifting to a modern desktop helps with cost savings. A study of the total economic impact by Forrester shows that if you have around 5,000 seats, you'll save an average of $7.2 million in total cost of ownership by moving. Now, let's take a look at what it means to have the most productive experience. When we say most productive, we're actually referring to the features and capabilities across Windows 10 and Office 365 Pro Plus that provide tools that help users find what they need and work from any device, real-time collaboration built into every Office application, and AI-powered creativity. For example, if you're like me and tend to deliver presentations often, you'll find that it takes time to make a beautiful and professional-looking presentation in PowerPoint. We have design ideas, which is powered by an AI engine that allows you to select some pre-made designs based on the content of your slides. As you can see, it is able to pick up the right context and even provide me the right icons for my slide, and this took me less than 5 seconds to complete. But of course, all this innovation cannot happen in the traditional software delivery method. This is why we've introduced our 6-month release cycles to roll out new features and capabilities for Windows and Office every 6 months, and this includes both security and productivity. As for your clients, regular updates help to bridge the security gap by fortifying the OS with every refresh. Monthly Patch Tuesday updates will still remain and help fix critical security loopholes. But overall, you can spend less time worrying about potential loopholes that would exist between those 3 years OS upgrades. There is also a big difference between Office 365 and Office Perpetual. Perpetual being the one-time license fee that you pay, which is licensed per device. The limitations are in terms of collaboration, the time between feature rollouts, and the number of devices that you can actively use your license for. Now, going back to security, traditional practices are not scalable. Organizations tend to adopt and buy the best-of-breed security tools. However, when an incident occurs, it is hard to correlate and piece together the information to get a clearer picture of the attack chain simply because there are too many tools and dashboards around. Not forgetting that by adopting the best-of-breed mindset, the number of agents that you will have to install on the operating system adds complexity to your deployment and even update cycles. Some third-party vendors cannot keep up with our patching, and even when major threats such as WannaCry are out and about, you have to make a choice. Do you patch your operating system but disable your antivirus while waiting for a resolution? Or do you leave your operating system open while maintaining your current antivirus? To solve this, we are invested in enhancing your endpoint security. We continue to invest over $1 billion a year on cybersecurity. Microsoft is ensuring security to enable your digital transformation through a comprehensive platform, unique intelligence, and broad partnerships. We have built in so many security features and capabilities within the Windows operating system itself, which means that we no longer need to install any agents, and things just work because it's built in and not bolted on. Security capabilities of Windows 7 were great for its time. However, it's been over 10 years since Windows 7 was released, and its defenses are not sufficient for an ever-changing threat landscape. We have added capabilities in Windows 10 and even further security capabilities as a part of our enterprise offering. And we look at security in a comprehensive manner. One is to protect the endpoint. However, it is also essential that there is a recovery and business continuity in the event of a breach. Let me show you how you can recover from a ransomware attack. So here's my computer with my documents, which are all stored in my OneDrive folder, and it's synced to the cloud. Now these files have been encrypted by an attack, and all I have to do is to go to a browser into my OneDrive and select the point in time where I think that my files are still good. Then I can click Restore to choose to restore all or some files based on that date specified and run the restoration process. After a while, my files will be restored, and then you can see a report of all the changes that have been made. Now, of course, this ransomware had occurred, but this could have been prevented through other security capabilities of Windows 10. Here, I have a USB drive with some documents on it. There's no executables, so it should be nothing scary, right? But actually, once I open my document, you can see that an attack occurs and that my files will get encrypted. But if I had actually enabled a Windows Defender Exploit Guard attack surface area reduction rule to prevent some of these macros from launching executables, I could have stopped the fileless attack even way before. Now this doesn't block all macros, just some actions that we normally wouldn't expect a healthy document to do. An alternative method is to prevent any non-signed applications to write to our folders. This can be done through controlled folder access, which prevents any editing to your files by unknown or non-corporate applications. But of course, your security stack is only as strong as your weakest link. The Threat and Vulnerability Dashboard helps organizations to discover vulnerabilities and misconfigurations, prioritize risks to rapidly improve their security posture, and automate the remediation process. The exposure score is a new metric giving you a better understanding of where you stand against dynamic threats. To help you reduce your exposure level, we complement it with a set of recommendations prioritized based on your highest risk to your organization. Threat and vulnerability management starts with a good software inventory. It is always fresh and up to date. Whenever you have new software installed, it will be present here. You can always pinpoint with specific software throughout your organization and get recommendations on what to do to reduce the threat. You can also view a list of the discovered vulnerabilities with various additional details. Here, you can see various versions of software distributed throughout your organization. You can also see the list of machines and view the associated threat and vulnerability management data based on each specific machine. Even within the machine page, we specify the value of the machine, whether it's low, medium, or high value assets from your organization to help prioritize the risk. You can also see the list of installed software, current open CVEs, and security recommendations to improve its security posture. Let's look at the organization-wide security recommendations. Here, you can see what the recommendations are based on what is discovered. Every recommendation comes with a set of insights, and you can learn more by hovering over the icons. These will help you with prioritization. The red bug icon means that there are known exploits. So let's look at some of the remediation options. The TVM integrates closely with Configuration Manager and Intune, which allows you to create tickets so that the relevant teams can action, and all additional details such as machines affected will also be shared. However, for the purposes of this demo, I am just a reader, and so I will not be submitting any requests. Once you submit this ticket, you can also track its progress in the remediation page. Now, these are just some demos. However, preventative measures are never enough. We must always adopt a post-breach mindset. So now let's assume that post-breach has occurred. How can Microsoft then help you with the recovery and investigations during any security incident? Here, I have an operational view of my organization's endpoints and users, which gives me an aggregated view of the latest alerts, their severity, and when they were observed. The machines most at risk with a number of alerts related to each machine. Users at risk, which comprises insights into the activities, actions, and relationships to the machine. The Security Operations Dashboard in Microsoft Defender ATP provides a single pane of glass and centralized management. So now, let's see the experience of when we are investigating a security alert. Alerts are any security-related incidents collected from the organization's endpoints and flagged by the Microsoft Defender ATP service. It applies correlation analytics and aggregates all related events and investigations into one incident entity. By doing so, Microsoft Defender ATP narrates a broader attack story, allowing the SOC analyst to understand and deal with complex threats across the organization with the right visuals. I can see the latest alerts from all onboarded machines in my entire organization, along with the severity of each alert. Severity in this context is the potential impact the associated malware may have to my organization as a whole and not just to a single endpoint or user. You can also view which machines have been onboarded onto the service. You can see that my test machine 2 has a very high severity rating. And let's drop into the incidents queue, and when I select this incident, I actually see an alert where PowerShell has dropped a suspicious file onto someone's machine. It is marked as a medium severity alert, but I still want to understand the context and see what actions I need to take. I can set alert status, classifications, create rules to suppress the alert next time it occurs in a specific machine or anywhere in my organization. The alert process tree helps triage the alerts and investigation to the next level, displaying the alert and related evidence together with the other events that occurred within the same execution context and time. This rich triage context of the alert and surrounding events is available on the alert page. Tracing down the malware related to this alert, I can see that PowerShell was used to schedule an unusual task to run an executable on the PC. In fact, with the incident graph, we can see how this incident has affected the entire organization. The backdoor.exe file name sounds suspicious, but I don't know yet if it's malicious or not. I can easily find out more by visiting the detailed file investigation page. I can investigate the details of a file with a specific alert, behavior, or event to help determine if the file exhibits malicious activities, identify the attack motivation, and understand the potential scope of the breach. To enrich the data related to the file, I can submit this file for deep analysis. The deep analysis feature executes a file in a secure, fully instrumented cloud environment. Deep analysis results show the file's activities, observed behaviors, and associated artifacts, such as drop files, registry modifications, and communications with IP addresses. Here, I can see that the suspect file makes a system file talk with an external IP address. The File in Organization section provides details on the prevalence of the file, prevalence in email inboxes, and the name observed in the organization. So now let's actually take a look at a machine with an alert. The machine view page provides me with an overview of security relevant details such as logged on users, high-level machine status, and risk profiles. I'm also able to see a summary of all relevant alerts related to this machine. Additionally, I can view a rich timeline that shows all events observed from this machine from as far back as 6 months. I can interactively hunt, search, and explore historical data across all endpoints. And I can reduce the verbosity by using search or filter functionalities. Drilling in, the detailed view of the alert shows me the entire process tree in chronological order. I can see that the malware in question was introduced through PowerShell. I can also see more detail about this macro file. If SOC analysts continue to address and investigate each security alert generated by the thousands of machines in the organization, they would soon be overwhelmed as they would not be able to cope with the rapid pace new cyber threats are being released in the wild in today's world. What the SOC analysts need is a smart, intelligent solution that is not only able to detect security issues, but also respond or remediate those issues automatically. This is what the automated investigation and remediation feature in Microsoft Defender ATP does. Now let's look at this investigation here, where we automatically remediate from a watering hole attack. We can see that we started this investigation due to the alert, which is the suspicious remote WMI execution. And we can see that this investigation actually runs on 2 machines, Summer and Emma. And we can see that we've actually analyzed 7,000 over entities, out of which we incriminated 6. And the investigation ran for 1 hour and 25 minutes, and out of which about 44 minutes were only due to waiting for the user to approve. Now, we can also look quickly into the key findings and see more information on the file, wmi.exe.exe. For example, in the dynamic analysis, you can actually see which IP addresses that it connects to. So now let's actually switch from being an attacker to an SOC defender. In this stage, you can create a query that's designed to match the simulated attack behavior. You can also schedule this query so that it runs periodically and automatically raises an alert. The ability to create custom detections allow SOC defenders the power of advanced hunting to create these highly customizable queries and that can be used to monitor for emerging attacks. Now, on top of these security and productivity features, we've also added a lot of capabilities to help you with lowering your costs for operations. We'd go so far as to say that IT will love delivering Microsoft 365 solutions. First up, we're not asking IT teams to abandon the platforms and tools that they know and love. Managing Microsoft 365 endpoints means keeping on-premises infrastructure such as Configuration Manager, but extending and modernizing by cloud connecting Configuration Manager with Intune. Next, Microsoft 365 also helps eliminate IT guesswork while increasing visibility and control by leveraging telemetry to provide insights. For starters, moving to Windows 10 from Windows 7 comes with a lot of questions, such as, are my current software supported? What about my device hardware? How do I know if there are going to be any issues post-deployment? To solve that, we've got Windows Analytics, which is a tool that combines the inventory of your devices with the ready for Windows data and the known list of compatibility information to give you a single view which shows you all your devices and whether they are ready for this Windows 10 feature update or not. And this is what we call the upgrade readiness piece. It helps you to plan the deployment process for each of these feature updates. We also have 2 additional components, Update Compliance and Device Health, which focus on different areas of proactive insights. On the Update Compliance side, we want to make sure you're fully patched, and that if you're not fully patched, that you understand why. On the Device Health front, we want to be able to identify things that are going wrong in your environment, especially post-upgrade, and tell about some of the actions you may need to take in response to things like slow login times, application crashes, and other things that may negatively affect users' Windows experiences, especially before they even think to call help desk, because troubleshooting a collection of issues to fix them all at once is so much easier than handling a large group of support calls. In addition to that, we have our application compatibility promise, which is, if anything works on Windows 7 but does not work on Windows 10, we will fix it at no cost, especially if you're an enterprise customer. Yep, You've heard us right. It is part of our Desktop App Assure program delivered by our Fast Track team, and they will provide guidance on how to fix your application or work with you and your ISVs to form a resolution. Unfortunately, they are not responsible for doing testing. That still falls within your organization. And the best experience on a modern device, and for many customers, the fastest way to get Windows 10 is via a new device. Take, for example, the Microsoft Surface family of devices, such as the Surface Pro here. Most of these modern devices with Windows 10 support touch, pen, voice, and gesture inputs, and many new devices also feature Windows Hello, allowing users to move beyond passwords and log in with biometrics such as facial recognition and fingerprints. Compared to a 4-year-old laptop, new devices also start up faster, are more secure, have better performance, and better multitasking capabilities, as long as an all-day battery life. And all these new devices can save money by being cheaper than to maintain than a 4-year-old clunker. Plus, there's also additional support for modern deployment options, such as Windows Autopilot. But before we go on about Autopilot, let's look at the old way of procuring, imaging, and deploying a new desktop. The first step is to build a custom image. Whether you're using tools such as Configuration Manager or using Microsoft Deployment Toolkit by itself, you first have to create that custom image. Then send that image to your distribution points. And as the months roll by, you'll need to update this image, adding and removing software and updates. And of course, you then need to resend these images all to your distribution points. Then once you get a new device, you have to send the OEM device to your build factory, unpack that image, deploy it back to the device. Then you have to repack the device and then send it back to the intended end user. A result is an enterprise-ready device that has the necessary application and settings that your user needs. However, by building and maintaining that gold image and deploying it to a device that has already the correct operating system is really time-consuming and expensive. So, we have Windows Autopilot. With Windows Autopilot, the user unboxes the PC, which they get directly from the OEM or the reseller. And in a few clicks, they have an enterprise-ready PC. Connect it to your Azure Active Directory, enroll in Intune for your mobile device management with all their apps, settings, and files needed. So let's have a look from the user's perspective when the user unboxes their device. They'll have the usual out-of-box experience, prompting them to select a region and a keyboard layout. Since the device is registered to the organization, it will then prompt the user for credentials. This will then kickstart the provisioning process, and in the backend, it pulls the updates, the policies, and the applications. And once completed, the end user logs on to an enterprise PC and begins using the applications delivered directly to the end user without the need of IT to create and maintain a gold image or tie up the network by sending a gold image to all of the distribution points. This frees IT to work on other projects, increasing not only the end user productivity, but the productivity of the IT technician as well. And additionally, if the user decides to leave the organization, all you need to do is to reset the PC from the Settings app, wipe out all the user data, and it's back to a business-ready state, ready for the next user. So, are you ready to shift? Well, the first step is to cloud connect your Configuration Manager infrastructure. The process couldn't be simpler, and it just takes 4 clicks. Then, with this, you can gain superior visibility and control over your estate with the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and newly accessible Intune actions. Of course, this shift does not need to happen all in one go. You can select which workloads you wish to move over first while you do your transitioning. Finally, once PCs and devices are running Windows 10 and Office 365 Pro Plus, IT will now move into a process of staying up to date, which increases the efficiency, especially the more the IT teams adopt modern management techniques, such as utilizing diagnostic data with Windows Analytics, Office Customization Toolkit in Configuration Manager or Intune, and using phased deployments. And don't forget, the Windows 7 support ends January 14, 2020, So you really need to start coming up with a strategy now to make it on time. And lastly, we're here to help. As mentioned, we have different resources to help you with your journey to a modern desktop. For general deployment planning and assistance, head over to Fast Track. For any help with application compatibility, bring it up to the Desktop App Assure team and they will work with you to find a resolution. It is something we like to call no app left behind. And if you're ready to go, but you really need some help with documentation or video walkthroughs, you can head over to the Deployment Center at aka.ms/howtoshift. The combination of Windows 10 and Office 365 Pro Plus delivers the most productive, most secure end-user computing experience available. But we recognize that it takes time to both upgrade devices and operationalize new update processes, but we're committed to working with you in your journey to shift to a modern desktop. I hope that this session has been insightful, and thank you so much and have a good day.